My name is GalsCoop and we do have a lot to get through. This is the review of 1.06 for PlayStation 5. This is like the 20th video I've done on the subject. The whole thing's like a soap opera, and this is one of the last patches you're going to see for the base level models as well. That's a bit of a shocker news, and it's also looking like a bit of a Edge Runner promo with like new hairstyles and a few new outfits and some new gigs, which is quite a good sign. But there is some performance stuff in here, especially with the cars, a little bit about the AI and the NPCs, and some better resolution scaling, which is pretty crazy. Looks like a last hurrah on the content front from CDPR. You've got a few more challenges added, quite a lot of new content on the gig front. Nothing really changed massively on the single player campaign, no new endings or anything like that. I'm intrigued at this NPC behaviour and vehicle difference along with this scaling. We'll have a look at both performance and ray tracing mode. Let's get started. I've only just put in the cloud save functionality for all of your PlayStation 4 content. If you're like me, you've probably just cracked on with the new save, but it's nice to have after what, 4 months, 6 months of the PlayStation 5 patch coming in. Crazy changes out this window. I've looked at this cityscape so many different times. It's gone through such an evolution. So this is what 16 patches looks like over a period of 2 years, and also a recent patch that points out that the vehicles are all fixed. I mean, it's not ever going to be fixed, I don't think. We have to accept that a lot of this distance activity is just plain strange. I am being a bit harsh because I'm zoomed in about 50,000 times on the magnification, but it's still distracting. It's still there, and it's just a strange thing to have on an open world game. This is performance mode. I will give you a shout when I switch it out. I may even put an annotation in the corner so we know what we're looking at and when we're looking at it. This wasn't too bad. I'm quite impressed with the performance mode on this game. They've let a little bit of that reflection fidelity in, and they've also managed to peg it in places, but still driving around the major busy parts of the city or going over a big section of loading, meaning a large piece of city comes in that's heavily populated. You will see a stagger for a second when going over those bridges. Still all there. Had a good hair around town. I should also swing by the combat to see of any major changes. There was some mention of NPCs or non-player characters being a bit more fluid, not bumping into loads of stuff. No real eye-opener changes on that front. Still got police spawning in from dead ends behind you.
Suspect hit!
I think that's just a system we're willing to accept now when looking at the latter stages of a lot of the patches. There hasn't been any sort of move towards major granular ground level updates with the actual system of this city, like revamping that entire police system or putting in some proper NPC variation or reactions to situations. It's still that surface level, unfinished feeling gameplay. Switching the time of day out and driving around a very busy time of town at midday and seeing some of those very strong colours come through still is one of the most vivid and visually impressive cities on a PlayStation 5. It's kind of mind-blowing in places. It's just a shame that the stuff they've filled it with is completely lackluster. But on top of this hill, having a look at the different switches on day and night always seems to please me, and I wanted to just check and look at this resolution, see if anything's changed on how smooth it all looks at night time. Things may be looking a little bit crisper on distance. Nothing major to report, and we are treated to a nice delayed change of time, and the mist comes in. That's quite a weird loading. We are still on performance mode, no ray tracing and no 4K high resolution here. That still doesn't take much away from how incredible the visuals are, especially at night and especially during the wet or rainy areas, and you get that like once in a blue moon. So annoying that a game that's boosting its ray trace reflections has barely got any reflections in it, but nighttime is totally epic in this game, always will be. It's just you need more than epic night visuals in this day and age, especially with GTA on the horizon. I say on the horizon, there's no better cyberpunk looking game out there on the current gen systems, and it kind of just breaks my heart that little bit more. We're doing the famous walk. This is in performance mode and it's early morning. I was experimenting with some of the mist effects. It seems to be mistier in early mornings with the game. Now they've injected some of that in, but not enough rain in my eyes. But this is still as shite as it was on launch as far as I'm concerned. Low population, not what we was shown on original trailers. Everybody knows the deal on that front. Now I'm going to flip it out to the ray tracing mode and fidelity on the resolution front, and actually not the dip in frame rates I was predicting. This is kind of quite good, and the high fidelity ray tracing mode is not absolutely terrible, and I think it's probably pegged at 30, which you can feel because the jankiness on some of that 60 frame material is very noticeable when you get to busy sections of the sea. But this was okay. It's a hell of a improvement on what we were getting when we first fired this game up on a base level PlayStation 5 before all those updates kicked in. There is now a new wardrobe system within V's apartment which lets you create loadouts of outfits that you can then save and retrieve and go to whenever you want. I cannot believe there wasn't an outfit loadout system in the game from the beginning. It's just one of those things that you think, oh yeah, of course, why the hell did you not just sit down and put that in the first place? But at this stage with it, you don't really have that much differential. It's only really cosmetic that you would use that for when it comes to like making cool photos or putting your biker outfit on, that sort of thing. Famous section of the game, this is the Digital Foundry area where they found that huge frame dip, and yeah, it is still a bit janky in areas. And also I got some weird message top right hand side, got cut off, didn't get to read it. So what the hell's going on with all that? Why is it cutting my UI off? There was even like a huge strip of UI updates on that patch. Now I found some standing water, I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, yes, let's just find out exactly how far these ray tracing reflections go. This is it with standard. You can still see some real fidelity in those images on the ground there. It's quite impressive that we haven't even got the ray tracing mode switched on. Whacking it on, I think, just points to how little there really is between those two modes, i.e. performance and RT. It's a great thing to have RT, but it's really not worth the sacrifice of having those 30 frames per second. I think with this, it all really depends on where you are in the map, what time of day it is, whether it's raining or not, and whether you want to see those cool sort of neo cyberpunk amazing luminous visuals. If you're probably not in combat and just walking around and trying to see nice bits of the game, then go for it. But I think that performance mode has really got it all. So going very fast around the map doesn't feel too much better. There's still a little bit of popping on distance vehicles, and we get that strange granular shading that you see on a lot of the roofs or the sunlight on interiors. But one thing I am quite impressed with, and as you probably know I'm a photo mode nutcase, is that you've got more angles, you've got more to work with on the elevation and the other stick. They've freed up something, I can't quite put my finger on it, but you can get a lot more direct from above shots. You can kind of do sweeping shots that you could do in a game like Forza Horizon. It's really amazing. I wish I had it at the start of the game, and that's what I want to go on record as saying, that it's got some of the most beautiful assets in any PlayStation 5 game I own. And not only that, it gives you the ability to scrutinize them all and look at them really closely. It's just as soon as the game starts moving, things change. But to pause and look and soak up the beauty of what this game could have been, again, pulls at my heartstrings. I did have this incident, which hand on heart I've never had before, but it may be because I haven't been too aggressive on that front. But I kind of think that some of the non-player characters, i.e. pedestrians, are armed to the teeth. They could have beefed up some pedestrians on the sly. She was like Corpo, right, in the business attire, so some of them might now just have firearms. I mean, I don't think the game could handle it if every pedestrian pulled out a piece and started shooting at you, including the police. That one was very interesting. Also, I'm seeing a little bit more reroll on cosmetic NPC outfit. That's coming with this Edge Runner injection of like hairstyles and a few new jackets. You see it a bit more. I scrutinize these people constantly, and there's been a slight variation on a lot of the churn out with that. It was completely dire when the game first launched. It was like one outfit across the whole city. Is this the big fix? No. Will there be a big fix? No, because the game's issues are far deeper than just a simple patch. Is it nice to see CDPR sort of throw everything but the kitchen sink at trying to get people to still believe in this game. Yeah, and some of this content's quite welcome, to be fair.
Help! Someone!
Am I going to watch Edge Runners? Probably. What am I going to do now? Go and watch Blade Runner with a glass of whiskey and cry a bit. Have I been Couch Coop? Yes, I have. And will I see you down there? Of course I will.